gonna get up and go get it?
Randy, you have to talk to him because this is important. This is about saving my life. You can't just not talk to the man.
Try not to overfeed you.
Get out. I'm done talking to you.
Plus, the hospital staff not only seen you eating pizza, but burgers, and then you're smart enough not to throw it your own trash, throw it to somebody else's trash.
It was me that ate it. She didn't eat any of that.
You both need to stop lying.
Hello, everyone. Before we jump into the stories of the most unforgettable dirty enablers on my 600-pound life, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell so you never miss out on these jaw-dropping stories. Ready? Grab your snacks, but maybe not a whole pizza, and let's get to it. Lisa Eberson's appearance on the show was a whirlwind of defiance, struggles, and, let's be honest, some seriously annoying moments. But she had a heartbreaking backstory to her weight. During her childhood, Lisa witnessed her father become someone unrecognizable due to his battle with alcohol, assaulting her mother right before her eyes. Her past deeply stirs feelings and insights into trauma and recovery.
My dad was an alcoholic. He wasn't at first. He was a real good dad when we were younger, but then he got into drinking and started beating on my mom and everything. So just that situation there made me turn to food. Food became a comfort to me because whenever I got upset or afraid or lonely, I knew it'd be there.
However, Lisa's struggles didn't stop in childhood. At the tender age of 13, she endured a horrifying ordeal that left her with scars that no child should ever have to bear. She was raped by 2 men. These deep emotional wounds propelled her into severe mental health challenges, painting food as the only reliable source of comfort and safety in her turbulent world. As the story unfolds, it's clear that Lisa's battles are far from over.
When I was 13, life changed a lot. I was at a friend's house. People I thought were friends. I was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. I got raped, and it just happened. There's 2 different guys. I never told a soul, not even my mom. And I started eating a lot after that. I know I did. I did it on purpose because I wanted to get fat so nobody ever touched me again.
But as years ticked by, the consequences of finding solace in food began to manifest more visibly and severely. By the age of 51, Lisa found herself bedridden, trapped in a relentless cycle of compulsive eating that made every day a battle. Will she be able to break free from such a relentless cycle?
I must be pretty bad if people don't want to come visit me. It's nobody's fault but my own that I put all this weight up and I wanted this bed. Thank you. I deserve to be happy and I deserve to be free.
Her boyfriend, Randy, was at her side when we first saw her episode. Randy played the roles of caregiver and enabler, his unwavering support a double-edged sword that both sustained and confined her. Their life together was a complex dance of dependency, with Randy attending to Lisa's every need. This raises the question, can love actually get in the way of healing?
I like to snack a lot and eat a lot.
Well, you're not the person you go to pantry and get your snack. Who's bringing you your snack?
Well, when I could get up and walk, I'd get them myself, but now Randy brings me everything I eat.
So that is called an enabler over there. So when you got an enabler over there, they enable you to eat all the high-calorie food. How are we going to change that?
Well,
Somebody that's interested to keep you in the bed?
No.
When Lisa decided to take the leap and seek help, her journey to recovery began with a video call to Dr. Now, given her inability to leave her bed. Weighing in at 637 pounds, she faced the stark reality of her situation with Dr. Now. Suspecting the scale might not be telling the whole story, he prescribed a strict diet of 1,200 calories a day to lose 75 pounds. But will she follow the diet?
So what do you think the problem is?
I eat too much.
So how long you know that you're eating too much?
Oh, for a long time.
So what is new today after 51 years?
I don't want to die. I want to change my life and get out of this bed.
You say that, but doing that hasn't been important enough for you to start losing weight before this point. So you live in Nebraska?
Yes, sir.
However, Lisa's road to recovery was anything but smooth. Her willingness to embrace change, particularly when it came to physical therapy, was, to put it mildly, less than enthusiastic. And when Dr. Now inquired about Randy's role in her eating habits, his response was a moment of tragic irony. If she asks for food, I'll bring it. Is transformation truly within reach for Lisa?
So why are you overfeeding her?
Because she asked me not to get it for her.
So if she asks you, you're obligated to bring it to her?
Yes.
What happened if you don't bring it? Is she gonna get up and go
I'm
get
not
it?
talking to
Randy, you have to talk to him because this is important. This is about saving my life. You can't just not talk to the
Try
man.
not to overfeed you.
As time went on, Lisa's pattern of canceling appointments and resisting help became a source of frustration for everyone involved. Her interactions with the dietitian and physical therapist were marked by hostility, leading up to outright demands for them to leave her home. They were just trying to help her achieve her weight loss goals.
Sometimes when we get angry and frustrated, we want to blame other people and have them take
Okay, this is over with. Get out. I'm done talking to you. Give me my book. I don't blame nobody for anything that's happened to me.
Lisa, is part of you afraid of getting help?
Just get away from me. Get the out.
In Lisa's responses, she definitely demonstrated a lot of resistance, and she's obviously angry.
After a series of refusals and missed appointments, Dr. Now's last-ditch effort to help with a physical therapist was met with the same hostile reception. Even Dr. Now, the one person wholly dedicated to her recovery, wasn't spared from her abrupt dismissals and defiance. This program was her last opportunity for a better life, yet she resisted it.
But I think what you're expecting is for someone else to do the work for you and giving to your manipulation. So Lisa, we've given you everything to change your life, but then you have to do your own part.
What you gave me? I'm done. Goodbye. Here, I'm done. I'm done.
But life, in its UNPR addictable nature, threw a wrench in the works with Randy's untimely passing during the COVID-19 pandemic. This heartbreaking loss served as a wake-up call for Lisa, prompting her to reach out to DR. Now, once more, this time with a renewed commitment to her weight loss journey. Good for her. Better late than never.
I seem to be doing okay.
I'm glad to hear that. That's more positive than you usually answer. So I'm happy to hear that. Well, how are you doing with the PT? Because they tell me you were cooperating when you got back home. But over the last month, you haven't been doing as much. And you've been telling them you're too tired and you can't do it. So they have to come back later. So what's going on now?
Well, I've been trying.
All right. Are you able to start walking?
No, I haven't even got out of bed yet.
At 34, Crystal was battling a mix of health issues like diabetes, hypertension, and polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, which not only affected her health, but also brought unexpected challenges like hair growth in unusual places, including her face. To add to her struggles, parts of her stomach were nerve damaged, making her situation even more complex. So, will Crystal find a way to turn her life around?
My husband Freeland is the one I rely on to help me get up and through my day, but I hate making him do that because I know it's hard for him.
You're right behind you.
But my body is in such bad shape now, and I have all these medical conditions making everything worse for me. You know, first it started with things like joint pain, and it's been hard to breathe when I do too much. But now I have all these other issues.
As we've seen, Crystal's relationship with her body was complicated from the start. From a young age, Crystal found comfort in food. It wasn't just about eating, but about finding a momentary escape from reality. Her journey into binge eating began at 5. Around the same time, she faced a horrifying trauma at the hands of a family friend, a sexual abuse that continued until she was 13. No one should ever go through this trauma.
That my weight gain started Christmas Eve, right before I turned 5 years old. We went and stayed with some family for the holidays, and that's when one of them molested me for the first time. After that, my life was never the same. But that was just the start of it, because it lasted until I was 13. I didn't say anything to anybody for a long time, and so every time my mom sent us to their house, it happened to me again. And she sent us to their house a lot.
Following Crystal's escape into food for comfort, this dark period of her life was a secret she kept buried, even as she endured more physical trauma from her mother's abusive partner who targeted Crystal and her sisters. By 10, Crystal's weight had soared to over 250 pounds, a clear sign of how deeply food had become her refuge. But will she ever escape from this addiction?
I wasn't safe anywhere, so I just tried to escape. And food became that for me. Food made me happy. And when I needed that, I ate. So that's when I really started gaining. And by the time I turned 7, I weighed about 150 to 200 pounds. So I was putting on weight quickly, and that didn't really change. By the time I was 10, I was already up to over 250. But I never really thought it was a big deal until I turned around 11 or 12 years old.
While taking on new responsibilities, Crystal's health was a ticking time bomb, and she knew she needed some serious help. When Crystal first met Dr. Now, her weight was at a staggering 618 pounds. Dr. Now was taken aback by her lifestyle, particularly her sleeping habits, 15 to 16 hours a day, and her choice of breakfast, ramen noodles and cheeseburgers. What will Dr. Now recommend for Crystal?
And then after that, what do you do?
Sometimes I'll take a nap or go sit in the front room and watch a movie.
You just woke up, you take a nap?
Yeah,
Okay. And what time you go to bed?
I'm usually in bed by 7:30.
So you sleep from 7:30 till 11 o'clock next day? Mm-hmm. You know how many hours is that?
Way too many.
You know, the fact that you sleep from 7 o'clock at night till 11 o'clock next day is very abnormal, okay? Mm-hmm. So you should get 8 hours sleep.
Okay.
Okay, and that's not healthy, but depression may be a factor in that too.
Dr. Now recommended her to cut down her sleep to 8 hours and pushed for a consultation with Dr. Paradise, a psychotherapist. Dr. Paradise suggested journaling as a way for Crystal to process her traumas, telling her, "You have kept so much inside. You probably have books inside of you of things that have never been said." Will this lead to a lasting and positive change?
Homework for you is going to involve journaling. And I want you to use that journal as a way to start being a little vulnerable in your writing.
Okay.
Because you were quiet for so long. You kept so much inside. You probably have books inside of you of things that didn't get said. So start writing it now.
Okay.
Get it out.
Okay.
Crystal, thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Crystal's efforts to change her life seem to be paying off, at least initially. At her second checkup, Crystal weighed in at 591 pounds. Dr. Now sets a new goal for her: lose 80 pounds in the next 2 months. Crystal worked hard, and by her next visit, she amazed everyone by getting down to 526 pounds, which meant she was cleared for surgery. But can Crystal maintain this momentum?
I'm able to get around easier, and I can walk for longer before I get tired. So I'm definitely noticing a difference in what I can do and all that.
That's good. I'm glad to see all your progress. You didn't make it to an 80-pound goal, but you're losing more per month this time. And in total, you're getting close to losing 100 pounds. So you've been sticking with it for a few months. So I'm going to go ahead and approve you for weight loss surgery. That sound good?
That's amazing.
Just when it seemed Crystal was on the path to recovery, life had other plans. Things took a turn when she missed her appointments for 7 months. When she finally came back, her weight had gone up again to 579 pounds. Because of the weight she put back on, Crystal couldn't have the weight loss surgery. This turn of events makes her story one of the most unexpected and failed cases on the show.
Looks like you went back to coping with food again. And when I talked to you, I warned you that no matter how hard it gets, you need to stay on track, or we won't move ahead with your weight loss surgery.
I know it's just been a whole lot longer for me to try and do this on my own.
I understand that, but you're still gaining, so that's the issue.
So I'm still able to get weight loss surgery?
Not while you're gaining. I told you that. But this is what we can do. You have shown me you can do this once.
If you thought Crystal Hall was a handful with all his rule breaking, just wait till you hear about Sheni Murray. Trust me, you haven't seen anything yet. Make sure to hit that like button if you're loving the drama so far. And subscribe to our channel for more jaw-dropping moments from My 600 Pounds Life. Sheni Murray's story is all about saying no and pushing back, even when Dr. Now tries to help her get healthier. Sheni grew up as the only kid in the house. You'd think it's all about living the dream and being showered with love and attention, right? But things took a dark turn when she was just 5 years old. She was raped by her cousin. Poor Sheni.
I was a normal-sized child until the age of 5. Because there was one time where we was at my uncle's house and I was molested by my cousin. I didn't know as a child what was going on.
Reflecting on her traumatic childhood, just imagine her coming out of the basement in tears, running to her mom, who immediately knew something was wrong and took her to the doctor. That's when they found out the heartbreaking truth of what had happened. From that day, food became more than just meals for Sheni. It became her comfort zone and escape. But little did she know, this comfort zone would become her prison.
Inside, I felt terrible, but I just hid all my feelings in. I started sneaking food right after that incident. Food made me feel better. It made me feel happy. So then I started putting on weight. And when I was 7, I was about 130 pounds.
Years after turning to food for comfort, it wasn't a comfort anymore. Now, fast forward to her appearance on the show, and it's clear from the get-go that Sheni's heart isn't quite in the game. Despite the glaring health warnings and Dr. Now's roadmap to recovery, Sheni's commitment was, well, a bit shaky. Old habits don't go away easily.
You're not realizing that?
I did not realize that.
You're still eating whatever you want, whenever you want.
Not necessarily all the time.
All right, I don't think you're grasping how dangerous your situation is, Shanae. With all the health issues you got, you may not even make it to 30. You're not even trying. Did you even reduce a single thing in your diet?
I cut pork out, and I started eating crab meat and shrimp.
But hold on, it gets juicier. The plot thickens with Sheni's diet cheats. Even in a hospital setup with all the resources to pivot towards healthier choices, Sheni's husband turns into her partner in crime. Sneaking in pizzas and burgers, they were busted, sparking a not-so-joyful reaction from Dr. Now. Can you imagine the tension?
Shanae, see what I found.
Freddie.
What about Freddie?
That belongs to Freddie.
Shanae, the lying need to stop now. Okay, Shanae? Here's the situation.
Okay.
For 4 months, I have seen you from day one. You haven't lost any weight. Plus, the hospital staff not only seen you eating pizza, but burgers. And then you smart enough not to throw it to your own trash, throw it to somebody else's trash.
It was me that ate it. She didn't eat any of that.
You both need to stop lying. You come here to have weight loss surgery. You haven't lost any weight in 4 months.
Seeing all this non-seriousness and ignorance, viewers were taken on a roller coaster of emotions, feeling everything from compassion to frustration over Sheni's resistance to follow the plan and her sometimes childlike ignorance. The real kicker? Sheni didn't get the green light for weight loss surgery. And let's just say she wasn't exactly thrilled about it.
It's not true.
No, I know what I'm talking about. I'm telling you simple science. And you don't want to listen, so don't try to teach me medicine.
Oh, I'm not trying to teach you medicine, but I'm trying to teach you about my body. Okay, can I ask you a question? Do you believe in God?
What does that have to do with this discussion? What I'm telling you is not a matter of faith. It's a matter of medicine and science and physiology.
And I understand that, but do you believe in God?
Sheni's resistance kept on growing. Just 6 months later, Shani started skipping her appointments, giving the psychologists the cold shoulder too. And when Dr. Now checks in on her, Shani hits him with a curveball question about his beliefs in God. Then she claimed she doesn't need Dr. Now's help because the world's full of doctors. And just like that, she hangs up on him. Who does that to the one person who is trying to help you?
What I'm telling you is not a matter of faith. It's a matter of medicine and science and physiology.
And I understand that, but do you believe in God? And I believe that God is gonna take me as far as He wants me to. He put me on this earth. If He wants me to have this surgery, He will. And if He doesn't, I won't. It's in His timing when this is gonna happen.
God isn't going to just remove the consequence of your bad behavior.
I don't have a bad behavior.
But the story doesn't end there. Shani takes to YouTube, becoming a vlogger to share her side of the story, claiming she's shedding the pounds on her own terms. Whether that's fact or fiction, well, that's up for debate. But one thing is for sure, Shani was one of the most ignorant and defiant stars to hit the show.
Shanae missed her appointment, didn't show up, and I'm calling to find out what's going on. Once again, Shanae has missed her appointment, but this time she's not even answering her phone or responding to us. So it is unfortunate, and it is a disappointing outcome. But we are letting her know that because of her complete lack of compliance,
Kine couldn't stand up by herself for more than a quick 45-second countdown. Yep, you heard that right. Even a simple trip to the bathroom turned into a team effort. Her nieces, Elisa and Deja, were the MVPs of shower time, while her nephew played the crucial role of walking assistant. You won't believe how these everyday hurdles push her towards an unimaginable path.
Come on, babe. I'm ready to get washed up. Alicia is 16. If I'm gonna take a good shower, Alicia helps. Or if Deja's here, she helps. Deja is 19 and she's in college, so she's in and out of the house here.
Now, let's rewind a bit. By 10, Kini weighed over 150 pounds, and by 13, she was 230 to 240 pounds. But despite her weight, she was living a normal, happy life in high school. She was dating someone and went to prom in high school at 17. So for her weight didn't seem to be a problem, so she kept eating more and more. That's some next level ignorance.
But I don't feel like I missed out on anything during that time because of my size. So I was happy in high school. I dated. I went to prom. So I didn't see a reason to change how I ate. So I kept eating more and gaining weight. And I graduated from high school at 17. I was well over 350 pounds, but I was still able to manage pretty well at that time.
After high school, Kine landed a job and left home. But guess what? With newfound independence came an escalation in her fast food adventures and binge eating sessions. Before she knew it, 400 pounds was the new normal. But did she sweat it? Nope. Movement wasn't a problem, so in her eyes, everything was peachy. But the plot thickens as Kine's weight continues to climb.
I didn't buy groceries. I ate out. I was making my own money. You just drive through. So my eating habits changed for the worse. And it was at that time my weight had gotten up to around 400 pounds. But I didn't feel bad because I could still move around pretty good. I was still moving and working and, walking around and not hurting. Just didn't really bother me. So I kept on doing whatever I wanted with food and eating. So I know my weight gain continued.
But Kine had dreams, like starting a bigger family. There was just one big hurdle. Her weight was causing infertility and other health issues. Then life hit hard. She lost her mom and a tornado destroyed her house. These tough times made her turn to food even more. Wait until you hear how these adversities push her towards a pivotal decision.
Infertility can put a strain on the relationship. I just always figured that once I found someone that I wanted to settle down with, I'd get pregnant, we'd have kids, we'd go on with life. but I wasn't getting pregnant. I was diagnosed with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it did attribute to weight gain, and that devastated me.
Then, at 41, Kine decided it was time for a change and sought out the legendary Dr. Now. Starting weight, a whopping 614 pounds. Dr. Now prescribed a strict 1,200 calorie diet and some daily exercise, setting a bold goal of shedding 75 pounds in 2 months. But it was tough, especially since Kine was the one in charge of food at home. So how will she cope with this problem?
They tell you you're eating too much, don't eat that much, or...
Will they tell me that?
Yeah.
No.
Nobody tell you that?
No.
Okay.
No one's gonna step on my toes.
Well, the dynamic seems to be that you get everyone to enable you, and you use them as a crutch, and it sounds like that is affecting their health too. So, would you agree with that?
At her second visit, her weight was 592 pounds. So she only lost 22 pounds in 2 months instead of her target of losing at least 75 pounds. When Dr. Now asked her about it, she got defensive, saying, "You're not a magician and you're not a god. You're just a doctor." Talk about tension.
So, if you expect us to magically make you lose weight, that's not going to happen.
I never asked you for magic. You're not a magician and you are not God. You are a doctor.
You're exactly right. I'm the doctor who's telling you how to get healthy. And so what's the purpose of you coming and seeing us and not following the diet and do what you need to save your life? Because everything is up to you. It's not up to us.
Stop it. Stop.
What is with this attitude giving me that you're upset because I tell you and you're not following the diet?
No, I am upset because you were...
But despite the rocky start, she agreed to stick to the 1,200 calorie diet. Dr. Now also sent her to a psychotherapist, Dr. Paradise, who suggested writing a letter to her late mom. It was a way for Kine to process everything that happened since her mom's passing. Let's see if this will positively help her.
I was never able to get any closure from losing her because of my size. I couldn't go to her burial and say goodbye, and it's one of my biggest regrets that I let my weight get so out of hand that I couldn't do that. So I want to make that right, and I want to say all the things I never got to say to her.
However, Kine's emotional and physical transformation journey reached a critical milestone. Kine weighed 543 pounds by her third appointment and was given a new goal. However, dreams of surgery were put on hold due to health concerns signaled by high white blood cell counts. So the question remained, will her dreams of a new beginning come to fruition? All right, folks, if you thought these stories were wild, just wait till you see what else we have in store. Do not forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed the drama, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another jaw-dropping episode of My 600 Pounds Life.
Rapid heartbeat and atrial fibrillation, and that is something that we need to be concerned because
with that issue, you won't survive surgery. And the reality is, with this issue, your body is getting close to a breaking point. And right now, you're not going to live very long unless you lose a lot more weight before things get worse.
Oh! I've never been to jail, but I feel like that's what I'm in, and it's horrible.
Can follow him except you.
I have to retrain my body from eating cheeseburgers.
You gained 100 pounds and you're saying it's not your fault? You're eating yourself to death and you don't want to quit that.
Oh! Nope, I'm not riding the elevator. I can't believe that just happened to me. Stupid elevator almost killed me.
When Lucas Higdon first made his grand entrance on the show, it was like watching a slow-motion train wreck, but one that you just couldn't turn away from. Lucas, a Texas native with a larger-than-life presence, literally, was 33 years old when he appeared on the show in December 2021. Tipping the scales at over 619 pounds, Lucas wasn't just carrying the weight of his body, he was lugging around a lifetime of emotional baggage, wrapped in layers of deep-fried comfort food. Hello, everyone! Before we jump into the most disgusting moments on my 600-pound life, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell so you never miss out on these jaw-dropping stories. Ready? Grab your snacks and let's get to it.
I feel pain in all parts of my body, and I'm exhausted all the time. My parents built an outdoor shower for me, but I can't get the water to go all over my body because I'm too big. So that doesn't work for me, and the only shower I can fit in is at my sister's place. So I have to go there to get cleaned.
Growing up in a small town where family and food went hand in hand, Lucas didn't stand much of a chance against the temptations of his upbringing. Food wasn't just fuel in the Higdon household. It was an event, a celebration, and more often than not, a shoulder to cry on. You could almost say that calories were the family currency. The richer, the better. What was once just a simple meal turned into a spectacle, and not the good kind.
I weighed close to 400 pounds, and these coaches told me, hey, if you want to be playing football with us, you gotta lose the weight. And I was like, I have to do it.
I don't remember him overeating. When he played football, he was big, and so big the coach made him lose weight to play football. And he did that very successfully. He dropped 100 pounds. He had his mindset to play football. The doctor gave him a diet.
As a kid, Lucas was surprisingly active, playing sports and living a life that one might even call normal. But life has a funny way of pulling the rug out from under you just when you think you've got it all figured out. In his early 20s, Lucas was hit with a tragedy that sent him spiraling. Someone very close to him passed away suddenly. And just like that, the sports gear got traded in for a remote control, and healthy meals were swapped out for late-night fast food binges. It wasn't just about eating anymore, it was about filling a void that nothing, not even the greasiest burger, could ever satisfy.
He's someone who's gonna decide whether or not I'm gonna get the surgery. I can definitely feel the aura around him, or he can definitely see him being like a coach figure. What he sounded like was how my coach sounded like. Hey, you need to lose this weight or you're not gonna be able to play. And for him, it's like, hey, you need to lose this weight or you're not gonna get the surgery. And it made me feel like, okay, then I'd definitely do it. I feel motivated, like I can do this.
Lucas's sister, bless her heart, couldn't stand to see her brother on a fast track to an early grave. She reached out to Dr. Now. When Lucas first waddled into Dr. Now's office, it was a sight to behold. Fear, desperation, and just a hint of hope, all mingling in his eyes. Dr. Now didn't mince words. "You're eating yourself to death," he said bluntly. "If you don't change, you won't see your 40th birthday." Ouch, but sometimes the truth stings more than a bad paper cut, and in this case, it was a much-needed wake-up call.
But I've shown that I am capable of staying on track and I'm staying focused. I still have to continue losing weight, which is what I will be doing. I would still be focused on what I need to do. I'm not gonna go out and party. I'm not gonna go out and just pig out and anything like that. I'm gonna continue what I'm doing because this is what I need to do. And I come too far to turn back now. This first goal is just the first of many goals I want to reach. So even if it feels like I finally made it.
Within a few months, Lucas managed to shed over 80 pounds, finally earning his golden ticket to bariatric surgery. It was like watching a marathon runner cross the finish line, only this was just the beginning of Lucas's journey. Post-surgery, he continued to drop weight, and even more surprising, he started to actually enjoy it. Imagine that. A guy who once found solace in a bucket of fried chicken was now getting a kick out of working out.
So he can live a healthy life where he's able to pursue his dreams and the things he wants. And I'm very proud of him for that. And I'm excited to see what he accomplishes going forward from here.
Now that I made it to this point, it's like the things that I had as goals, I'm ready to start doing them. It's time. It's time to start living the life I want. And I'm really excited to make that happen.
Now, let's get one thing straight. James wasn't some helpless victim here. Sure, life threw him some curveballs. His mom's issues with alcohol, his dad remarrying, and suddenly finding himself with 4 step-siblings in a financially strained household. But a lot of people have rough childhoods and don't end up bedridden, relying on others for everything.
And can't do the things that he loves to do. Okay.
Don't let me get hard.
I'm not. I got you.
Mom, that's good.
Okay. You're comfy?
Yeah. So Lisa's my full-time caretaker now, and she has to do everything for me, except for some jobs that are just too much for her, like bathing me. So there are a couple of my friends that come to help.
Yet here was James, whose relationship with food became so warped that he started eating like there was no tomorrow, all because of some twisted fear of not having enough to eat. You can almost picture it. This kid, stuffing his face every chance he got, haunted by some irrational fear that the food would just vanish. And what did that lead to? A man who was totally dependent on others, yet still somehow managed to manipulate those around him.
She had 4 kids of her own already. So all of a sudden, we were a family of 8. But my dad didn't make enough to provide for a family that big. And we went from having what we needed to being really poor. And I never knew if we were gonna have enough to eat. So I just started to eat much as I could when I got the chance. And I remember the joy and safety there was in food.
Speaking of manipulation, let's talk about that, shall we? James had this knack for getting people to do what he wanted, even if it meant making their lives miserable. His girlfriend Lisa and his daughter Bailey? Yeah, they basically became his full-time caregivers. Bailey even quit school to help out. Imagine that, having to drop out of school because your dad couldn't or wouldn't take care of himself. And for what? So he could keep living in this twisted reality where he was the king of his own little world and everyone else was just there to serve him? It is almost like he saw himself as this tragic figure, but really he was just digging himself deeper into a hole.
You hungry?
Yeah, I'm starving. My head's hurt.
What do you think you want? I have some fish.
I don't want that. I'm tired of the same stuff.
Since I don't have a way to get anything, I don't know what we can order that's gonna be healthy. You don't want fish or shrimp?
No, I don't want that. Order me Chinese. Egg rolls and rice, fried rice.
And let's not forget the icing on this very bitter cake, his mom sneaking food into the hospital. Yes, you heard that right. While James was supposed to be under strict medical care, trying to lose weight and save his own life, his mom was bringing him the very thing that was killing him. It is almost Shakespearean, the way James seemed destined to sabotage himself at every turn. But could it have really saved him? At that point, it is hard to say. James was so entrenched in his bad habits, so unwilling to change, that it is almost like he had made peace with his fate.
And I know I'm smaller than when I started doing this. So hopefully when I get into the hospital and get my weight, I can prove it to him there. Now is really not the best time for me to leave my family. But I'll go if the doctor wants to check my weight, so that I can show him I am doing this.
In the end, James's story is not one of redemption. It is not one of triumph over adversity. It is a story of what happens when you let yourself become your own worst enemy. James passed away on April 3rd, 2020, after years of battling not just his weight, but his own refusal to change. It is a sad tale, yes, but also a cautionary one. Because at the end of the day, no one can save you if you are not willing to save yourself. James's journey leaves us with that harsh truth and a reminder of how deeply ingrained our struggles can become if we let them.
What did that have to do with your eating habit?
Well,
you should have Ross right now.
I asked for a nutritionist when I first got here, too. I didn't get it.
James, this is ridiculous. What nutrition you need except the instruction that I gave you that works? Everybody else can follow them except you.
I had to retrain my body from eating cheeseburgers.
You gained 100 pounds and you're saying it's not your fault?
Loving the drama so far? Hit that like button and share your thoughts below. Stay tuned because Brittany Fulfer's story is about to take a wild turn. When you think about embarking on a weight loss journey, you probably imagine dedication, discipline, and the occasional slip-up. But let's be honest, not everyone who appears on the show is exactly a poster child for healthy living. Enter Brittany Fulfer. Her story is like a train wreck that you just cannot look away from, filled with moments that will make you cringe, shake your head, and maybe even laugh at the sheer absurdity of it all.
To be inside of my body
It is pain. It is sadness. Most of the time, I'm like, maybe it'd be better if I just don't wake up, because every single day I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, what did you do to yourself? A human body should not look the way my body looks. That is the most disgusting thing.
Brittany walked into the spotlight with a determination that could make you root for her, vowing to take down her lifelong nemesis, obesity. But the situation was so extreme that just standing up for 45 seconds left her completely wiped out. I mean, really? 45 seconds. The only thing I can think of that exhausts me that quickly is a bad episode of reality TV. And let me tell you, Brittany's story was heading straight in that direction. You could see the monumental challenges ahead, but here's the kicker. She wasn't exactly thrilled about following the doctor's advice. And guess what? That rebellious attitude leads to some of the wildest moments you'll ever see.
I think about food nonstop from the moment I wake up till the moment I go to bed. I know that's not normal, but I can't remember a time when food wasn't the most important thing to me. Not many people can pinpoint when their life changed, but I can tell you my life changed when I was 5 years old.
Brittany's weight issues didn't just appear out of thin air. By the age of 10, she was already over 150 pounds, and by 13, she was tipping the scales between 230 and 240 pounds. It's almost as if she was training for some kind of twisted weight gain Olympics. Her binge eating began after some rough childhood experiences, but despite the ballooning numbers on the scale, she lived what seemed like a regular high school life, dating, prom nights, the whole 9 yards. You might think she would have realized her weight was a problem, but nope. The binge eating just continued right on through graduation, as if it were her own personal extracurricular activity.
It made me so confused about life. If that's what love is, then just keep it away from me. I didn't want love, and I built a wall. The only thing that I found any type of happiness in was when I could go and eat my food. And no one in my family knew.
Finally, Brittany had her enough is enough moment and decided to seek out the legendary Dr. Nowzaradan. She started at a staggering 614 pounds, and Dr. Nowzaradan prescribed a brutal 1,200-calorie diet and daily exercise, aiming for a bold 75-pound loss in just 2 months. Now, here's where the real drama kicks in. Could she actually stick to this grueling regimen? Spoiler alert, it did not go smoothly.
Stress, depression, anxiety, but I also eat when I'm happy and when things are going good. I just eat.
Brittany clearly is a compulsive eater. This type of behavior is usually a result of emotional trauma. When an enabler is involved, it is one of the most difficult dynamics to break. So you're overweight and he's overweight.
Yeah.
By her third appointment, Brittany had dropped to 543 pounds and was given a new goal. With the help of Dr. Nowzaradan and a successful gastric bypass surgery, Brittany managed to shed 230 pounds by the end of her year-long weight loss journey. But here's the thing, folks. This isn't just about dropping numbers on a scale. Brittany had to confront her compulsive eating with a therapist, and that's where the real work began.
Today, we're going to do gastric bypass on Brittany. Gastric bypass is the most effective method of weight loss surgery. We're gonna start making incision. The patient's stomach can be as big as a football. We're gonna reduce it to the size of a tennis ball.
Imagine being in a body that feels like it's constantly betraying you. High blood pressure, heart problems, diabetes, blood clots, arthritis. Just standing up was an Everest-level challenge for Christina. It's like when you wake up after sleeping in a weird position and everything hurts. But, you know, times 1,000. Watching her struggle to do something as basic as getting out of bed makes you rethink that time you complained about having to walk to the fridge. Seriously, when standing for a few minutes feels like running a marathon, you know life stacked the odds against you.
I can't go out anymore. I can't even drive anymore. I never thought I'd get this big. I've always been bigger. In the 7th grade, I was close to 300. My parents would fight and argue a lot when I was young. It was scary. I think that might be part of the reason why I turned to food.
Christina's relationship with food was, to put it mildly, complicated. Food wasn't just fuel, it was her best friend, her escape from the harsh reality of her life. There's a scene early on where she's trying to get out of the house to grab some food, and then, bam! Her car won't start. Imagine feeling trapped, not just physically in your home, but mentally in this endless cycle of needing food for comfort. It's like those late-night cravings when you realize you're out of your favorite snack, except this wasn't just about cookies, it was about survival. And the car not starting? That's just the universe giving you the middle finger at that point.
17, I stepped on the scale and it was like close to 400. You know, and I couldn't believe it. I never thought that I'd weigh that much. I was the oldest of all my siblings. Because of the arguing, the screaming and yelling, made me feel like, you know, it was my job to protect my brother and my sister.
Me and my sister, we've been very close ever since we were little. She's, you know, like a second mama.
Determined to break free from her past, Christina made the bold decision to go to Houston to meet Dr. Nowzaradan, the no-nonsense, tell-it-like-it-is surgeon who's pretty much the last stop for people in her situation. Can you imagine the humiliation she must have felt arriving at the airport needing not one, but 2 wheelchairs? The stares, the whispers, it's the stuff of nightmares. But instead of crumbling under the pressure, Christina kept her head high and pushed forward. That's more courage than I could ever muster. I mean, I get annoyed when someone cuts in front of me in line. She's dealing with a whole different level of public scrutiny.
I think it's mainly fluid, because I did good once I got back.
It's not water. For that, you have to drink at least 300 gallons of water. You gain weight because you feel comfortable when you're eating.
We haven't been able to cook the proper foods.
You know, that's very typical. When you got an enabler here, when you ask a question, enabler would answer. So why don't you let her answer? Okay. This is very, very disturbing behavior. This is a sign of a very dysfunctional family dynamic.
When Christina first weighed in at over 725 pounds with a body mass index of 117, Dr. Nowzaradan was stunned. It was the highest he had ever seen. And here's where it gets interesting. Dr. Nowzaradan put her on a strict 1,200 calorie diet and set a goal for her to lose 100 pounds per month. 100 pounds per month. Let that sink in. Some of us struggle to lose 5 pounds in a month. And here she was, aiming to shed 100. It really puts your own struggles into perspective, doesn't it? Suddenly, my diet feels a bit less challenging.
We have to battle with to get the instrument inside. We make a small stomach when it's the size of maybe 2 to 4 ounces. And then bypass rest of stomach and part of intestine. This will give opportunity for a person to eat small amount and lose weight.
She's ready. She waited 10 years for this, so it's going to be worth it to me because she's going to get her life back on track. She's going to have the life that she's always wanted.
Here's where Christina really surprised everyone. Not only did she meet those goals, but she also exceeded them, losing over 200 pounds and becoming eligible for weight loss surgery. Post-surgery, she didn't just sit back and relax. She kept fighting. Her dedication was nothing short of incredible, continuing to lose weight until she eventually reached 401 pounds. Sure, 401 pounds might sound like a lot, but coming from where she started, that's a monumental achievement. Thanks for joining us on these disgusting journeys. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button for more stories from my 600-pound life. Don't forget to comment with your favorite moments and let us know what you'd like to see next.
But now, I can't wait to get out there. The last time I went to the grocery store was about 5 years ago.
My relationship to food has changed completely. Now it's a lot better. I mean, I'm not tempted by foods that I used to be able to eat.
Okay, do you want to get some chicken? It's healthier. 0 grams of sugar.
You're still eating whatever you want, whenever you want.
Not necessarily all the time.
This is a matter of life and death for you. Lost only 9 pounds since then. What in the world is going on with you?
I guess I'm eating the wrong things.
And self-destructing.
I'm done with this conversation. Go to her.
No, we're gonna finish with you.
No, we're not finishing with me. You're making me mad.
You
I'm
sit
leaving.
down right there.
You just
You
let
sit
me
down right over there.
No.
You know, if there's one thing that gets under Dr. Now's skin faster than a pizza delivery during a weight loss program, it's someone who refuses to play by the rules. And let me tell you, Sheni Murray wasn't just bending the rules. She was practically tearing them apart and tossing them out the window. Her story on the show is like a masterclass in defiance, sprinkled with a good dose of denial and topped off with a few helpings of dark humor. Hello, everyone! Before we dive into the wildest moments that made Dr. Now lose his cool, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss out on the shocking twists and turns we've got in store.
There was one time where we was at my uncle's house and I was molested by my cousin. I didn't know as a child what was going on. Shanae had came from the basement and she started kind of whining and she was touching her front area. She was hurting. All I remember is my mom had took me to the doctor because I couldn't use the bathroom. It was hurting really bad.
Let's start with Sheni Murray childhood, because honestly, it reads like the backstory of a tragic character in a twisted novel. Picture this: the only child in the house, living what most would think is the dream, getting all the love and attention a kid could want. But nope, life took a sledgehammer to that fantasy pretty early on. But things took a dark turn when she was just 5 years old. She was raped by her cousin. Poor Shani.
I started sneaking food right after that incident. Food made me feel better. It made me feel happy. So then I started putting on weight. And when I was 7, I was about 130 pounds. When I was in elementary, my teacher did throw away my lunch because I was too fat.
Now that's a game no one signed up for, right? Poor Shani. As if that wasn't enough, she drags herself out of the basement, tears streaming down her face, and heads straight to her mom. The situation escalates quickly as mom rushes her to the doctor. And here's where the plot really thickens. Turns out that kick was more than just a bruise. It was a life-altering event that set Shani on a path where food wasn't just sustenance, it was her refuge, her escape hatch, her new best friend.
Take food from the refrigerator and take it back to her room. And we would find like bones, either in the couch or in the bed, underneath the bed. I got very heavy. And when I was 11, I was around 160. I was larger than all the rest of the kids. So I used to get picked on for being heavy. I just kept gaining more weight.
Now, here's the kicker, literally. Food became her comfort, but like any toxic relationship, what starts as comfort soon turns into a nightmare. Fast forward a few years, and Shani finds herself face-to-face with Dr. Now, the man who's seen it all. But trust me, even he wasn't ready for the roller coaster that was about to unfold. From the get-go, it was clear Shani was about as committed to the program as a cat is to a bath. Dr. Now laid out the plan, complete with neon signs pointing to a healthier life. But Shanae? She just wasn't interested. It's almost as if she saw his roadmap and decided to take a detour into Pizzaville instead.
You're still eating whatever you want, whenever you want.
Not necessarily all the time.
All right, I don't think you're grasping how dangerous your situation is, Shanae. And with all the health issues you've got, you may not even make it to 30. You're not even trying. Did you even reduce a single thing in your diet?
I cut pork out and I started eating crab meat and shrimp.
But oh, it gets better, much better. You see, Shanae had a secret weapon in her arsenal of bad decisions. Her husband, the unofficial food smuggler of the year. The pair was like the Bonnie and Clyde of unhealthy eating. Even in a hospital, with all the tools to turn her life around, they couldn't resist the call of greasy fast food. We're talking pizzas, burgers, the whole forbidden feast. And when Dr. Now found out, let's just say, it wasn't the happy kind of surprise. The tension could have cut through a thick crust pizza.
Here's the situation.
Okay.
For 4 months, I have seen you from day one. You haven't lost any weight. Plus, the hospital staff not only seen you eating pizza, but burgers, and then you smart enough not to throw it to your own trash, throw it to somebody else's trash.
It was me that ate it. She didn't eat any of that.
You both need to stop lying. You came here to have weight loss surgery.
As if the story couldn't get any wilder, 6 months later, Shani decided to ghost the program entirely. She skipped appointments, dodged the psychologists, and when Dr. Now finally managed to check in on her, she hit him with a curveball that left everyone speechless. She questioned his beliefs in God, as if that had anything to do with the fact that she was still dangerously overweight. And then, the grand finale. She hung up on him. I mean, who does that? It's like hanging up on Batman when he's about to save Gotham. It's not just rude, it's downright reckless.
Telling you simple science, and you don't want to listen, so don't try to teach me medicine.
Oh, I'm not trying to teach you medicine, but I'm trying to teach you about my body. Okay, can I ask you a question? Do you believe in God?
What does that have to do with this discussion? What I'm telling you is not a matter of faith. It's a matter of medicine and science and physiology.
Let's talk about how Dr. Nowzaradan, the man who's seen it all, lost his cool. You know, you'd think after working with countless patients who struggle with extreme weight, nothing would faze him. But then there are people like Ryan, who somehow managed to push even the most patient and understanding professionals to their limits. Ryan is the kind of guy who could write the book on how not to follow a plan. Welcome to Ryan's story, or should I say, the tragic comedy of someone who thinks they can outsmart Dr. Nowzaradan. Spoiler alert, they can't. But let's not rush to the end just yet. There's plenty of delicious irony to savor here.
I've never really felt like I was full. That's a feeling I never get, so I only stop when I run out. But if I didn't, then I could keep eating and eating and eating. By the time that I finish the meal that I'm eating, I'm already thinking about the next meal. Like when I'm eating breakfast, I ask my mom what we're having for lunch. But I need to know what's in line and what's next, because I already can't wait to eat again, even though I just did. So my whole day basically revolves around me eating and drinking.
So here we have Ryan, a guy who, despite having a golden ticket to change his life, decided that a little thing called effort was too much to ask for. I mean, it's not like his life depended on it or anything, right? Wrong. But hey, let's give credit where it's due. Ryan's journey was a masterclass in how to take every opportunity and throw it out the window. His story should be a case study in what not to do when your life is literally hanging in the balance.
It always made me feel like I was this burden or problem he wanted gone. And then my choice from that was to turn to food, because it always made me feel better, you know? You feel bad, you eat a donut. And that's how I coped with a lot of things. Turned to food to get the comfort that I was looking for, and it filled that void, so food became my best friend. So I started to eat a lot, and I started gaining from that. At first it was slow. It just seemed like I was a little overweight. When I was 10 years old, I broke that 100-pound mark, and the difference in my size started to get hard to ignore.
Now, Ryan's early life was far from ideal. With a mother and stepfather who seemed more interested in making his life miserable than being role models, it's no wonder the guy turned to food as his escape. Honestly, can you blame him? Some kids play with toys, others eat their feelings. Ryan clearly took the latter to a whole new level. But here's where things get real messy. By the time he was 17, he was already tipping the scales at over 300 pounds and dealing with a drug addiction that would make even the most hardened rock star wince. Talk about getting dealt a bad hand in the game of life.
That started me on a downward spiral, where I didn't really want to be around people. And all I did was go home and eat. When I started partying, drugs and alcohol with my friends. Freshman and sophomore year, I partied pretty hard. I smoked a lot. I drank more than any parent knows I did. I was still eating all the time also. And I just got worse and spiraled more out of control. By the time I was 17, I was already up to 300 pounds. But that was a bad year for me.
When Ryan reached out to Dr. Now, he was tipping the scales at a staggering 740 pounds. Yeah, you heard that right, 740 pounds. It's funny how people can talk a good game about wanting to change, but when it comes down to it, they just can't seem to walk the walk. Ryan was no exception. Instead of shedding the pounds, he clung to them like they were his best friends. Maybe they were, in a weird, twisted way. After all, if you can't be bothered to follow through with a plan designed to save your life, what does that say about your priorities?
Or if you're ready to wake up and get your life together.
I'm ready to do what I need to get healthy, Dr. Now.
Alright. So if food is destroying your life, then what seems to be issues with your eating habits?
My eating habits now is just, I like pastas. It's a big, like I say, kryptonite, I guess I would say. I guess something that I have a trouble with. I'm trying to wean off of it. And I eat late.
And this is where the real comedy, if you can call it that, begins. Dr. Now, the ever-patient saint of morbidly obese patients, gave Ryan chance after chance to prove he was serious about losing weight. But instead of progress, what did Ryan do? He started sneaking in cheat days like they were a part of his prescription. And when the good doctor called him out on his lack of progress, Ryan had the audacity to blame it on a malfunctioning scale. I mean, seriously, that's like a student blaming their bad grades on the pencil they used. If only Ryan's commitment to his diet was as strong as his commitment to his excuses, he might have actually made some progress.
The scale's malfunctioning. It won't give me away.
Is it malfunctioning or are you still over the weight limit of the scale?
I know I made it to your goal, Dr. Now. I worked hard, so I'm at least under 650 pounds right now.
So you believe you're under 650 pounds?
That's correct.
All right. We will agree to disagree then because you don't look like you lost much weight since our last call. So I think the issue is that you're still over the 660 pound limit for the scale to be able to get your weight.
But it doesn't stop there. Oh no, Ryan took self-sabotage to new heights. He missed appointments, ignored Dr. Now's calls, and went on fast food binges like he was preparing for an eating competition. It's almost impressive in a dark, twisted way how someone can be so determined to fail. I guess you could say Ryan was living in his own little world, a world where the rules of health and common sense didn't apply. Unfortunately for him, the real world has a nasty habit of catching up with you, no matter how hard you try to ignore it.
But now that I made it to this point, I need to go back to how I was doing the diet before my mom intervened, where I had my cheat days, because that got me through the first month of doing this. And not being able to have that made the last couple months way too hard. So I'm letting myself go back to my way and enjoy one day a week of whatever I want.
Dr. Now, bless his heart, kept giving Ryan more chances than anyone deserves. But let's be real, there's only so much one man can do. You can't save someone who's determined to drown, and Ryan was diving headfirst into the deep end. The moment he had the house to himself, it was like a kid let loose in a candy store. Old habits, as they say, die hard. Or in Ryan's case, they don't die at all. They just get fatter.
Yeah, so this is the first time I've seen you call because I have you on my phone under Dr. Now, so I haven't had any missed calls from you.
Well, you missed a lot of calls from me and my office. And so what's going on with you? You were talking about coming down to Houston a few months ago, but you missed the appointment we had for you last month. And we haven't heard from you. But what happened with that?
My driver ended up not having a driver. I got it all taken care of now.
In the end, Dr. Now had no choice but to cut Ryan loose from the program. And honestly, who can blame him? When someone shows you time and time again that they're not interested in saving themselves, you have to let them go. It's a harsh reality, but it's the truth. Ryan's story is a stark reminder that life doesn't hand out infinite chances. You either take the opportunities you're given or you don't. And Ryan chose the latter with a side of fries.
Over the past few months, I have made a number of appointments to have video calls with Ryan, and he has missed all of them. I guess he's not picking up the phone. And it looks like he's doing that again today. I had a call with him right now, and he's not picking up again. So it looks like he is still avoiding me and playing games.
If you're as hooked as we are on these jaw-dropping stories, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us out, and trust me, we've got plenty more where this came from. Laura Perez's journey on the show wasn't just your typical weight loss story. It was a tale of emotional baggage, bad habits, and a dash of cosmic cruelty. Seriously, life seemed to have it out for some folks, and Laura drew the short straw early. Picture this, a 5-year-old kid already finding comfort in food because of some deeply traumatic family incident. Let that sink in. At 5, most kids were worrying about which crayon to use, not which food would make the emotional pain disappear. But hey, food had this sneaky way of wrapping you in a warm, calorie-laden hug, even when it was the last thing you needed.
But I started to gain weight when I was 5. An older cousin of mine molested me.
Would just touch me and stuff. I never told my parents anything. So the molestation went on for years. My whole life just changed.
As if that wasn't enough, Laura's parents decided to call it quits. Divorce was like the ultimate let's screw up a kid's life move, and Laura responded the only way she knew how, with a fork and a knife. Food became her constant, her rock. Because let's face it, who needed therapy when you had a plate of mashed potatoes? It was a tragic truth that when life got rough, people often reached for the nearest comfort, even if that comfort was slowly killing them. The mind could play some pretty sick games, convincing you that getting bigger would protect you from the world when really it just trapped you in a prison of your own making.
And I took all that anger and pain and kept eating. And by the time I was in high school, I was already over 300 pounds. I just kept putting on weight and getting bigger and bigger. And then I met Joey when I was 27.
I did like heavy-set girls when I was younger, so.
Then, in walked Dr. Nowzaradan, the man with a bedside manner as soft as a brick. I mean, this guy didn't mess around. If you were looking for sympathy, you'd better look elsewhere, because Dr. Now was all about tough love. Minus the love. He handed her a diet and exercise plan that might as well have come with a waiver for potential tears and tantrums. And you know what? She needed it. Because let's be real, changing habits that had been cemented in place for decades was about as easy as convincing a cat to take a bath.
It should be the opposite. They should tell you you shouldn't have that. And so you carrying oxygen with you all the time?
Yes.
Okay. And you are diabetic? Laura is at her limit, and the family is the one pushing her there. She carry an oxygen tank with her because she can no longer breathe on her own.
Now, Laura's family meant well, but sometimes well-meaning was just another way of saying accidentally sabotaging. They were there for her, sure, but when being there involved cooking up a storm of calorie-laden comfort food, it was like handing an alcoholic a bottle of whiskey and wishing them luck. And then there was the whole homelessness thing. As if Laura didn't have enough on her plate, pun intended, she and her husband Joey ended up without a home. Could you imagine? You're trying to lose weight, change your life, and now you're also worried about where you're going to sleep. Life, it seemed, had a twisted sense of humor.
Vegetables and stuff like that. She's really sticking to her diet, so I'm happy about that.
Joey's been really supportive. Sometimes I just want candy or cake, but he brings me good stuff now and not junk.
Oh, yeah. This is steamed chicken with vegetable, bell pepper, onion, and mushrooms. And it's very different than what I was eating.
When it came time for surgery, things didn't go as planned because, of course, they didn't. Laura's liver and spleen were too enlarged for the typical procedure, so Dr. Now had to pivot and perform a gastrectomy instead. And then, because why not, she nearly died of pneumonia. At this point, you had to wonder if some higher power was just messing with her. But Laura, bless her, pulled through. She dropped a whopping 237 pounds by the end of her journey, slimming down to a lean 182 pounds.
He accomplished some sort of weight loss operation. But under circumstances, that's the only tool we can offer for Laura. So she should recover well, and she should still start losing weight when she go home.
Eberson. Now there's a name that sends shivers down your spine when you think about how her life played out on the show. I mean, talk about a tragic backstory with a plot twist that could rival the darkest of dramas. But let's not get too bogged down in the details just yet. We've got a lot to unpack here. And trust me, it's going to get juicy.
He wasn't at first. He was a real good dad when we were younger, but then he got into drinking and started beating on my mom and everything. Just that situation there made me turn to food. Food became a comfort to me because whenever I got upset or afraid or lonely, I knew it'd be there. But then after my dad left, my mom went to work. She cleaned banks. She did whatever she could to take care of us.
Like most of the other contestants, she turned to food. Not just as a comfort, but as a full-blown escape from the hell her life had become. Food became her best friend, her shield against the memories that haunted her. But, like all coping mechanisms taken to the extreme, it also became her prison. By the time she hit 51, Lisa was trapped, literally bedridden and weighing over 600 pounds. Can you imagine that? Being stuck in bed for years with food as your only solace. It's like a horror movie where the monster is yourself.
People I thought were friends, it's just at the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, I got raped and it just happened. There's 2 different guys. I never told a soul, not even my mom. And I started eating a lot after that. I know I did. I did it on purpose because I wanted to get fat so nobody ever touched me again.
And let's talk about that first meeting with Dr. Now. Can you imagine the look on his face when he realized he'd have to do the initial consultation via video call because Lisa couldn't even leave her bed? She weighed in at 637 pounds. But Dr. Now wasn't fooled. He suspected she might even weigh more. And considering her history with food, who could blame him? Dr. Now laid down the law with a strict 1,200 calorie diet and a goal to lose 75 pounds in 2 months. Sounds simple, right? But for someone like Lisa, it was anything but.
What would you rather be doing?
I don't know. Leave me alone, lady.
Sometimes when we get angry and frustrated, we want to blame other people and have them take
Okay, this is over with. Get out. I'm done talking to you. Give me my book. I don't blame nobody for anything that's happened to me.
Lisa, is part of you afraid of getting help?
Just get away from me.
Okay.
Here's where the dark humor kicks in. Lisa was about as enthusiastic about this diet and physical therapy as a cat being thrown into a bathtub. The second appointment rolls around, and Dr. Now, trying to figure out what the heck is going on, decides to chat with Randy. And what does Randy say? If she asks for food, I'll bring it. Seriously, Randy? That's like giving a pyromaniac a box of matches and then wondering why the house burned down.
In giving to your manipulation. So Lisa, we've given you everything to change your life, then have to do your own part.
What you gave me? I'm done, goodbye. Here, I'm done. I'm done.
But life as it tends to do, had one more curveball in store for Lisa. Randy, her rock, her enabler, passed away during the COVID period, and suddenly, Lisa had a wake-up call that hit harder than any diet plan ever could. Maybe it was the loneliness, the realization that she couldn't keep living like this, or maybe it was just plain fear of being utterly alone. Whatever it was, Lisa finally reached out to Dr. Now, ready to commit to her weight loss journey. Thanks for sticking with us through this roller coaster of a journey. If you want more deep dives into the craziest moments from my 600-pound life, don't forget to subscribe and check out our other videos.
More positive than you usually answer, so I'm happy to hear that. Well, how are you doing with the PT? Because they tell me you were cooperating when you got back home. But over the last month, you haven't been doing as much. And you've been telling them you're too tired and you can't do it. So they have to come back later. So what's going on now?
Well, I've been trying.
All right. Are you able to start walking?
No, I haven't even got out of bed yet.